Ladies and gentlemen, today we are diving into Diablo Immortal. Now, I want to start off by explaining something. This review is a fairly in-depth review of the game. I wanted to give it enough time that I could test out most of the systems and give an honest opinion. Now, I know that most people fall into two camps when it comes to Diablo. OMG microtransaction bad and OMG game really good. But there is truth to both of these, and I don't think I'd be doing this review justice if I focused on any one of these things. Both of these can be absolutely true and valid, and without taking away from the opposite point. So, let's jump in and discuss Diablo Immortal. Now, Diablo Immortal has kicked up an absolute storm in the gaming world over the last couple of weeks, and justifiably so. So let's jump in and take a look at what I think of Diablo Immortal. First of all, Diablo Immortal is a mobile game with a PC port. Now, the character customization here is actually pretty damn cool for a mobile game. You can make your character unique enough that it doesn't feel the same as everyone else's, but there's not too much there that it's overwhelming. We start out with a cool intro on a boat. This feels incredibly Diablo. This was where I first started to realise that this game may actually be exactly what we hoped for, and not what we expected. Just a Diablo game for mobile. Next up, I noticed that the game, for a mobile game ported to PC, has incredibly responsive controls. If you're somebody that's used to playing Diablo on PC, on the regular Diablo PC games, you're not going to have too much of an issue. However, the game was designed for you to move around by holding down on your screen. And it seems to have this issue where occasionally your clicks get locked and your character will just infinitely run in one direction. And sometimes even clicking multiple times doesn't unlock that initial click. It's kind of strange, but it's what I would class as teething issues for a mobile port. And considering it's in beta, that is forgivable. I only encountered this once or twice a day maybe, and it was generally never at a time where it got me killed. It was usually while just roaming around the fields. I clicked to attack a creature and I instantly run off somewhere else. This was my first interaction in the game, and took a while for me to realise that this was not intended behaviour and to work out exactly what was causing this issue. Again, a small issue, very infrequent, not a big deal. So first off, I'm tasked to kill a boss and save a blacksmith. It teaches you the controls, and is generally just a nice intro. I get a chance to learn the abilities of my class, which I went with Necromancer, which, by the way, I had a lot of fun playing. I've never played a Necromancer before. Then we meet Deckard motherfucking Kane. He tells us to stay a while and listen, so we do just that. And this is where we get thrown into true Diablo gameplay. There is no hand-holding with bosses. Yes, they're easy to batter your way through, but there's no big pop-ups telling you, hey, avoid an AoE, hey, sidestep this laser. It's just forced learning, and that's why the boss is so easy in the early game. You get thrown right into the action, and that's very Diablo. I love it. It's also worth noting that abilities for your class are gained at a pretty decent rate. You get enough time between earning them to learn the previous one, then just learn the combos between the two. It's pretty simple, but again, very Diablo. Now, this is clearly a last-minute PC port, as the mouse wheel is not supported in certain inventories. And this felt kind of odd. To begin with, I didn't realise that I had as much inventory space as I thought, because I tried to scroll the mouse wheel and it didn't reveal any more inventory. And at a later point, I accidentally clicked in the inventory to equip something and dragged by mistake, revealing that, in fact, I do have a double-sized inventory. This is a pure oversight, because anyone who tested the game on PC from inside the Blizzard office would have encountered this immediately. Surely their first thought was not to click and drag an inventory to scroll it. Surely somebody who's played PC for any amount of time would use the mouse wheel and realise, that doesn't work. We should fix that. But apparently not. Now, just over 40 minutes into the game, it's cash shop time. The game tells me I can claim free loot from the cash shop, and it tells me that I gained eternal orbs. Except I didn't. That was kind of strange, but it was free stuff from the cash shop, so I didn't really care. I also find out that I must spend £21 to gain a cosmetic outfit. Now, on further research, this cosmetic outfit is specifically for this class that I'm playing on this character and is not account-wide. This is the first time where I realised that there may be some cash grabs here, as I feel that if you're buying a cosmetic that has no bearing on combat, you should just be able to equip it on all of your characters. Maybe not all of your classes, but all of your characters. If you have 2 Demon Hunters, you should be able to equip the Demon Hunter cosmetic on both of these. You cannot. You need to buy cosmetics for every single character. I join a random party that I get invited to while I'm adventuring through the world, and I make a new friend. I get told that I've unlocked the Battle Pass, which I now have the privilege to purchase. I was looking at this, but was swiftly saved by Divin, the new party member that I just ran into. Shortly after, I get stuck running into a wall while talking to someone. This is the second occurrence of this movement bug, and it's at this point that I realise what's happening, and that the mouse button is just getting stuck down, sort of, but just in code. I figured the quickest way to fix this is to double right click then left click. This seems to always cancel that stuck left click, and it's a good thing to know because this will happen at least twice a session. I'm then informed that I need to be level 35 to use a shop of some sort. Not sure why, but that is a programmed system in the game. Then I learn that I can socket gems. Weirdly, you cannot purchase one from the store until you're level 25. You also need a premium currency to use said gems. Shortly after, Deckard tells us the importance of these purchasable legendary gems. Coincidence? I think not. John Doe then tells us the importance of crests. He tells us that the first one's on him. Like a drug dealer giving out free samples, you will also need to purchase these. Normal crests can be obtained once a day for free, but they're almost useless in comparison to the unlimited crests that you can purchase. You can place 3 crests into an Elder Rift Stone to increase the rewards from that rift, meaning you can purchase 3 and get a massive increase by spending more money. Fabulous. Well, it gets even better than that, because on stream, much later on, I had a horrible realization. A member of my chat said, no, you can't just put 3 in, you can put 10 in. And I'm sat here looking at the Rift Stone, seeing the ability to add 3, and I keep saying, no, it's just 3. And then they say, add 3 and see what happens. Now, up until this point, and much further than this, remember, this is a later realization than the current point in the video, I hadn't spent a single penny on this game. Not one. Now, a viewer of my stream called Illadari donated me £25 and said, for science. Now, what he wanted me to do was purchase 10 legendary crests. Now, 10 legendary crests comes to about £22. And it is a single-time use for each of these in a one-time dungeon. You then have to buy more to run the dungeon again. This dungeon can be speed-ran in about 2.5 minutes to 4 minutes, and me and Josh were consistently doing that. Well, here's where things get completely bananas. Because once you've added 3 of these legendary crests to the rift, you get prompted to not add a couple more, but to add 7 in one go. 7 whole crests on top of the original 3. Meaning that you can use these crests all at once. 10. You can spend £22 for 2 to 5 minutes of, well, I was going to say fun, but just bear with me, we're going to get back to that. Already, this seems unreal to me. Absolutely insane. Now, we're going to come back to the results of that spending, because just stick around, your mind is going to implode into the cosmos. Now, it costs 160 gems to buy 1 crest. Now, let's assume you don't know about the extra 7 that you can throw in. Monkey Brain tells you that you need 480 gems to do a single 3 crest rift run. The minimum orb pack you need to get this is $8.99, but then you have a few hundred orbs left over, meaning you may as well buy more. This is typical Monkey Brain mobile tricks, and sadly they work. Now is around the time where Diablo Immortal really shows its greed. This is where I was also told that rift crests stack between party members of that rift, and apparently party members are kicking members out that are not using legendary crests, meaning if you aren't paying to win, people are booting you from parties. Myself and Josh Strive Hayes did encounter this numerous times. It's not a wives' tale, it is actually happening. So I decided to do some rifts with Josh. This was swiftly brought to an end when we discovered we're not on the same realm. And nowhere does it tell you that cross-server play isn't a thing. So, me being me, I decided to restart, and as frustrating as this was, I was about an hour and 30 minutes into the game, and I can definitely get back to this point in half the time now that I know what I'm doing. So I did. 42 minutes later, I'm back to the same level on a new Necromancer on Josh's server. So it's time to party up with Josh and smash out an Elder Rift. XP drops and orbs are independent, which is nice. Rifts are insanely fun. Coincidentally, I got a new legendary gem, which is insanely powerful, showing the importance of paying real money. Weirdly enough, Josh also got a legendary gem on the same dungeon that I did, which was the first dungeon we did, showing that you get a pity legendary. This is the freebie from the drug dealer. There are so many progression systems to keep track of that my brain just shut down. There's the battle pass, there's hilts, there's platinum, I'm not even going to go into all of them because the video will become incredibly boring, but to just sum it up, people have counted up to 26 progression systems and premium/non-premium time-gated currencies, all in Diablo Immortal. And it's by design. It's literally designed so you physically cannot keep track of every system and optimize it unless you pay. And some of these systems are just straight up there to make you pay to bypass them, so that it's one less thing to have to think about. After this, me and Josh partied up with 3 other people and tried group rifts. Group rifts are just a lot of fun, and you're going to see a lot of rift footage in this, because rifts is really the only way to progress after about level 30. Level 30 seems to be some sort of invisible wall. Now, nowhere in the game could I see the XP I needed from this level to the next. And there's an important reason why. At level 30, you hit what everyone's referring to as the wall. And the wall seems to be a point in time where the XP you are rewarded is either greatly diminished, or the XP required is greatly increased. There is no ifs and buts about this. This is not a speculation. One of these two things are happening. Because it goes from the average of 1 level per dungeon to 1 level per 3 to 4 dungeons in the space of a single level. This is a monumental jump, and coincidentally, it's around the time where you've been introduced to every single storefront that the game has to offer. You then realise that completing the Battle Pass rewards an absurd amount of XP, except you can only do the free part of the Battle Pass, very quickly shoehorning you in to the paid Battle Pass, which has 3 different levels, will cost you about £70 a month if you actually want to buy all 3 levels, and then if you want to buy the Boon of Plenty to double your XP or drops, and like these systems compound and stack on top of each other to basically try and make a player realise, well, I've committed this much, what's an extra $10? And unfortunately, it's working. Now, at this point, I should probably talk about the average sort of loot that me and Josh had been gaining. We had gained a single legendary item up until this point. We had gained a legendary item and a legendary gem. Now, funny enough, the legendary item that I gained was by killing a random creature just outside of a rift because it had attacked me. Josh had got a single legendary item from inside the rift, and we had been running rifts for about 2 days at this point. So, 1 single legendary gem that was a pity legendary gem, and a single legendary item that we both seem to believe was also a coded system to allow you to get that early, for that quick dopamine hit, and to get that addiction of wanting more legendaries. Now, this is where Illidari donated the £25 on stream and said, do it for science, referring to me placing 10 crests in to see the real day and night difference that people were speculating that there was going to be between crests and no crests. I have to say, I was shocked, mortified, and in tears of laughter during this. So I'm going to play the clip now of this entire encounter as it unfolded, and I just want you to understand, this killed the game for me. I don't think I have, right?
Does it give you a choice of adding more?
If you put in the first 3, you unlock the other 7. Oh my god, no. There is no way.
Let's see what happens.
I left for 1 minute and you spend £22. Right, let me clarify for everyone who missed it. Illidari donated £25 for me to do a test run fully crested out. to just show how broken this is.
Oh, let me go and get a...
Has science gone too far? I think it may have.
And you'll have to... Oh, no, you don't need to be the party leader to do this, do you?
No, I can do it from in here. I'll start putting them in. Let's... They're fucking right. Oh my god. You have to add 7 at once, though.
Can you take a screen? Hang on, let me take a screenshot of that before we go anywhere else. You are taking the absolute piss.
I bet they're all like, hell yeah, let's go.
Zeal and Broke are suddenly like, brilliant. Ice, mate.
Yeah, I got a little bit stuck because I don't have my escape move anymore.
So you put 22 quid into it, don't I?
I don't think you lose the crest for dying. It's just for failing the rift. I think. Somebody will have to confirm that.
It's going to fail.
I mean, it's Blizzard. It's Diablo. It's going to be for dying, isn't it? Right, nothing legendary yet. But, what the fuck? How many 2 legendaries? 3? What the 4? So what? Oh my god. What the actual fuck?
This is what happens when you put £22 into a single run.
What? Yeah, that's right. I got 10 whole legendary gems. And to put this into perspective, for a non-paying player to earn this amount of gems, they have to play for around 8 to 10 months. Solid, daily. Doing all their daily stuff as well. The comparison is day and night. Paying players are getting a hand-over-fist advantage over free-to-play players. Even over some of the players that are just mildly paying for battle passes and stuff. You can straight up buy gear. Now, Blizzard said that you were not going to be able to buy gear in Diablo Immortal. Now, this is semantics. They are using semantics to win this argument, because they are saying that gems are not gear, but you attach them to your gear, meaning you still get stats on your gear. So, let's put that aside. You are buying gear. There is no wording this in any world where it makes sense, where it, defends Blizzard's position on this. You are buying gear. Now, for those who don't know what gems do, they modify abilities, they modify many things on your character. For example, one of them gave me a straight up 8% damage reduction to enemies, an 8% damage increase to enemies, and then a 12% damage increase to elite enemies. That's a flat damage increase and a flat damage decrease. My player is now about 20% stronger than anyone else who hasn't purchased these things. In fact, probably even more powerful than that. You then have things that increase the summon duration of creatures that you have by 10%. That straight up increases the damage that my summons can do by 10%. Well, I'm a summoner class, so that is the main thing I do. At this point, Josh hadn't spent anything as well, and I was absolutely trampling him in damage, despite being 10 levels lower. Now, I want to take a minute here to discuss something else that I find to be truly disgusting. Normally, a game will reward you for completing a main storyline quest or a main storyline dungeon. You'll get some really cool loot, and it's an exciting moment, and Diablo has been known for this moment. Well, Diablo Immortal, upon completing a storyline dungeon, you unlock, not loot, but you unlock the privilege to be able to buy the loot that you just earned. No, I am not shitting you. This is insanity. Upon completing the first dungeon, you're prompted with a chest of loot that you can buy for that dungeon as a one-time purchase as a reward for completing the dungeon. How on earth is any of this acceptable? They have taken the dopamine hitting systems out of Diablo entirely and put them in the cash shop somehow. If you want a golden shower of loot, you have to pay for it. I know some people pay for a golden shower, but this isn't the way. That is part of Diablo, and it's now in the cash shop. Getting any meaningful loot that isn't legendary from a dungeon, that's on the cash shop. Progression beyond level 30, that's on the cash shop. I have played so many games that are horrendous cash grabs. I have never, ever in my life found a game that is this dishonest and egregious when it comes to money. Players are calculating the total cost to level a single character to max level and gear it. The figures are ranging from 110k to 160k based on average luck. And just to make it worse, when you buy these power boosts, you're still not guaranteed anything. You're guaranteed 10 gems, but they can be duplicates, so that cost can go even higher. And if you're looking at maxing out every character in Diablo Immortal, you're looking at the cost of $1 million. And I wish that was a joke. I really do. Unfortunately, Blizzard have set a precedent here. They have crossed a line that I do not think they're going to be able to walk back over. And there's a lot of people that are going to be saying, oh, if you don't like Diablo Immortal and its cash grab systems, just wait for Diablo 4. Now, I draw issue with that statement for one very simple reason. Blizzard have spent more money developing Diablo 4 than they have Diablo Immortal. Diablo Immortal has paid itself off in 24 hours. It's paid off all its development costs. Do you really think Blizzard is going to spend more money on developing a game that's going to make them less money? If you do, you are on some other cosmic realm here, because they're not going to do that. Business brain tells them if there is cash on the table, take it. And there is now a very large table with a very large stack of money sat on it. The majority, if not all of these systems, are very likely to be in Diablo 4, because investors will absolutely scream at them if they don't. And this brings me to my conclusion about Diablo Immortal. And I want people to understand my stance on this. I said previously that one issue does not justify the other. Or one good quality does not redeem a bad one. They can be exclusive to each other, but they can also be in the same debate. Diablo Immortal is a fantastic game. It feels like a Diablo game. They have managed to make a Diablo game on mobile that doesn't compromise the actual player programmed experience. It plays like a Diablo game, and I love it for that. On the other hand, the monetization on this game is just astronomically worse than any monetization I've seen in any other game. They have spent years with market researchers developing new gacha methods, new FOMO methods. I mean, the damn team have managed to sell you the ability to buy your own FOMO. You buy a limited time thing to give yourself FOMO so that you keep playing the game. I just cannot fathom it. And the sad, sad reality of this is people are buying it and it is working. This is Diablo Immortal now. This isn't going to change. This is how it will stay. And I want to address a comment I keep seeing. If you don't want to pay, just play for free. Diablo is a competitive game. If the gap between free-to-play and paid players is so astronomical in the span of 5 minutes, imagine what it's going to be like over the course of a month. You can't be competitive with the paying players. There is no way. They can do in 5 minutes what a free-to-play player could do in 8 to 9 months. But it gets even worse than that. Because free-to-play players who haven't been paying have restrictions imposed on them that are not publicly disclosed. You can run X amount of dungeons before your legendary drops are impossible, unless you're paying. You can't farm resources after a certain point unless you're paying. So even if you were to have the strongest of willpower to avoid paying, they're going to bend you over and spread those cheeks anyway. You're going to get shafted. Since that live stream clip, after playing for 3 days at that point non-stop and just purely enjoying it, I closed the game down after stream and I haven't opened it since. That experience of seeing 10 months of progress being gained in 3.5 minutes in that instance has just destroyed the game for me. Because I don't intend to pay to play. I would be happy to pay a monthly fee to play the game because it's a good game. But I will not pay £22 for 5 minutes of fun, back to back to back, to skip 10 months of gameplay. And realistically, that's what killed this game for me. That is what ended the game for me. Ladies and gents, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've been able to take this review for what it is, an honest review, an unbiased review from me, looking at the cons and the pros of this game, and not allowing one to justify the other. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment. All of this helps the algorithm, and if you want to be an absolute gem, consider supporting me on Patreon. If you're watching this video as it premieres, I'm going to be live over on Twitch. We'll talk a bit more about Diablo Immortal and play some games. If Twitch isn't your thing, I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care.